So we continue with the studying of the Ratana Sutta. So before we start to study it, we recite it first. We read it first, all right? Ratana Sutta. Something wrong here. Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The Ratana Sutta. The city of Vesali was afflicted by a famine, causing death, especially to the poor folk. Due to the presence of decaying corpses, the evil spirits began to haunt the city. This was followed by a pestilence. Plagued by these three fears of famine, non-human beings, and pestilence, the citizens sought the help of the Buddha, who was then living in Rajagaha. Followed by a large number of monks, including the Venerable Ananda, his attendant disciple, the Buddha came to the city of Vesali. With the arrival of the Master, there were torrential rains which swept away the petrifying corpses. The atmosphere became purified. The city was clean. Thereupon the Buddha delivered this jewel discourse, Ratana Sutta, to the Venerable Ananda, and gave him instructions as to how he should tour the city with the Licchavi citizens, reciting the discourse as a mark of protection to the people of Vesali. The Venerable Ananda followed the instructions and sprinkled and sanctified water from the Buddha's own alms bowl. As a consequence, the evil spirits were exorcised, the pestilence subsided. Thereafter, the Venerable Ananda returned with the citizens of Vesali to the public hall where the Buddha and his disciples had assembled awaiting his arrival. There, the Buddha recited the same jewel discourse to the gathering. Whatever beings, non-humans, are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, may they all have peace of mind, and may they listen attentively to these words. O beings, listen closely. May you all radiate loving kindness to those human beings who, by day and night, bring offerings to you, offer merit to you. Wherefore, protect them with the diligence. Whatever treasure there be either here or in the world beyond, whatever precious jewel there be in the heavenly worlds, there is none comparable with the Tathagata, the Perfect One. This precious jewel is in the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. That cessation, that detachment, that deathlessness, Nibbana, supreme, the calm and collected Sakya sage, the Buddha, had realized, there is not comparable to this Nibbana Dharma. This precious jewel is the Dharma. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. 4 ways of describing the Nibbana. The Supreme Buddha extolled a path of purity, the Noble Eightfold Path, calling it the path which unfailingly brings concentration. There is not comparable to this concentration. This precious jewel is in the Dharma. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. The 8 persons extolled by virtuous men constitute 4 pairs. They are the disciples of the Buddha and are worthy of offerings. Gifts given to them yield rich results. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. With a steadfast mind and applying themselves well in the dispensation of the Buddha Gautama, free from defilements, they have attained to that which should be attained, arahantship, encountering the deathless. They enjoy the peace of Nibbana freely obtained. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. As a post deep planted in the earth stands unshaken by the winds from the four quarters, so too I declare is the righteous man who comprehends with wisdom the noble truths. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Those who realize the noble truths well taught by him who is profound in wisdom, the Buddha, even though they may be exceedingly heedless, they will not take an eighth existence in the realm of sense spheres. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. With his gaining of insight, he abandons three states of mind, namely self-illusion, doubt, and indulgence in meaningless rites and rituals, should there be any. He is also fully freed from the four states of woe, and therefore incapable of committing the 6 major wrongdoings. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Any evil action he may still do by deed, word, or thought, he is incapable of concealing it, since it has been proclaimed that such concealing is impossible for one who has seen the path of Nibbana. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. As the woodland groves, though in the early heat of the summer month are crowned with blossoming flowers, even so is the sublime Dharma leading to the calm of Nibbana, which is taught by the Buddha for the highest good. This precious jewel is the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. The peerless, excellent one, the Buddha, the knower of Nibbana, the giver of Nibbana, the bringer of the noble truth, taught the excellent Dharma. This precious jewel is the Dharma, is the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Their past karma is spent, their new karma no more arises. Their mind to future becoming is unattached. Their germ of rebirth consciousness has died. They have no more desire for reliving. Those wise men fade out of existence as the flame of this lamp, which has just faded away. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Whatever beings non-human are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come, let us salute the Buddha, the Tathagata, the Perfect One, honored by gods and men. May there be happiness. Whatever beings are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come, let us salute the perfect Dharma, honored by gods and men. May there be happiness. Whatever beings are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come, let us salute the perfect Sangha, honored by gods and men. May there be happiness. The Ratana Sutta. In English, Ratana means jewel. And this is called the jewel discourse. So we actually had an introduction last week about the reasons why there was such discourse. And when did it happen? It happened during the Buddha's time. And where did it happen? It happened in Vesali, in the kingdom of Vajji, where Vesali was the city, the main city of Vajji. And Vajji was a very prosperous, a very affluent little kingdom where people are very well-behaved. People were very sort of rich, and that is actually one of the prosperous kingdom in the old days. But why the Buddha taught the jewel discourse, the Ratana Sutta? Because if you have actually just read again, or you listen to what I read again just now, because there were 3 things that happened. Firstly, there was famine. For a few years, there was no rain. So there was a famine, there was a lot of hunger, and then a lot of people died. And because of dead bodies all around the city, Vesali, and so attracts a lot of evil spirits, and also because of the decaying of those dead bodies, there were a lot of infections and a lot of bugs. So there were three things: famine, evil spirits, and pestilence, right? So we read it from the sutta. And so they seek for help. So they invited the Buddha to go over, and King Bimbisara actually accompanied the Buddha all the way to the bank, to this side of the bank of the Ganges River, and then prepare all the boats and everything that actually allowed the Buddha and the 500 monks sail through the Ganges River to the other side of the Ganges to reach to the kingdom of Vaji. And then the Buddha was well received in the assembly hall in there. But before they arrived to the assembly hall, the Buddha actually gave his own alms bowl to Ananda and taught Ananda this sutta. And we all know that Ananda had a tremendous memory. So the Buddha just needed to actually recite the sutra once to Ananda, and Ananda remembered. And the Buddha said, Ananda, you took my bowl and fill it with water, and then you go around the city of Vesali, and you sprinkle this wonderful Dharma water, we can call it Dharma rain, and then recite this sutta while you are circumambulating around the city to bring blessings to the city. And when the Buddha was traveling across the river, before he actually went into the assembly hall, there was torrential rain came down. And because of such heavy rain, it washed off all the dead bodies. A lot of dead bodies were washed off into the river, and there came a freshness into Vesali. And when the Buddha arrived to Vesali, he started to teach the whole assembly of the people from Vesali on this sutta. So that's the reasons when this happened, and where was this happened, and why was this happened, and what was it about. So you read from this Ratana Sutta, it's actually talking about the triple gem. It's talking about the qualities of the Buddha, the qualities of the Dharma, and the qualities of the Sangha. And this is why the Ratana Sutta is one of the sutta in the Pali Canon. Belongs to the Nipata section of the Pali Canon, and it actually is one of the protecting, or one of the suttas which are meant for protection. Okay, so there are other two commonly known suttas which are meant for protection as a blessings. You probably heard of them. Anybody could guess which of those? And you can actually raise your hand by pushing your button down there with a hand, or you just wave your hand if you have an answer. Anybody? Volunteers? Oh, two commonly sutta I have taught. Fong King, right there. Okay, say that. Heart Sutra, wrong. Boom. Big cross. Remember, we are talking about the Nikaya. The Nikaya. You have to turn off the speaker. Yeah. The Nikaya, so that is the Pali Canon. The Heart Sutra belongs to the Mahayana tradition, the Chinese canon. So anybody else? Yeah, there's a cheating. Tisa and Malia talking. Anybody volunteers? I have taught those suttas in Dharma sharing. I have taught those 2 suttas. Don't tell me that I haven't taught them. Okay, Laurie. No? Not even a guess? Come on. Come on. I'm going to give up on you. So, come on. No? Oh, I'm a total failure. Have you heard of Mahamangala Sutta? Oh, beat yourself in the head. Have you heard of Metta Sutta? Oh, come on, guys. Come on, folks. Have I taught these 2 sutta? Have I? Have I? Yes. Yes. So I'm not the failure. You are the failure. Oh, gosh. Remember, in the Dhammapada, the monks went into the forest, took a lesson from the teacher, who was the Buddha, went into the forest, and they were haunted by all these spirits, remember? And they left the forest. They said, no, we cannot practice in the forest. It's too disturbing, it's too distracting. They went back to the Buddha and told the Buddha, no, the forest is not a good place, it's not a conducive place to practice. And what did the Buddha say?
Go back.
Go back. Why?
Go back because he was going to arm them.
Yeah, arm them with what?
The Metta
Metta
Sutta.
Sutta, good ever. Yes, the Buddha said, you miss a weapon. You are missing a weapon. What weapon? The metta. The metta. So the Buddha said, go back there, go back into the forest and develop and have metta for those beings in the forest. And you will be armed. You will be totally protected. You will be absolutely safe. Metta bhavana, which you practice every day after meditation, or you practice any moment of your life. Metta. And Mangala Sutta. Mangala Sutta. The 38 great blessings. Remember, those 2 are one of the nipata, the protective, or what they call the little discourses. Those are actually suttas for protection, okay? And so Ratana Sutta is one of it. Okay, so we have talked the 2, then this is the 3rd one. Okay, so let us go to verse 1. Verse 1 said, whatever beings, non-humans, pay attention to this, non-humans, are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, may they all have peace of mind, and may they listen attentively to these words. So, this verse is actually an invitation to all beings. Whether they are celestials is like above the human realm, and terrestrial is on this planet, in this earth, on this earth. So, even though it says here non-humans, I think actually it is an invitation to all beings, including human beings. Okay, so and of course in the in terrestrial, some of the beings, we might not be able to see them if we have just human eyes. And most of us have just human eyes. And so we might not be able to see all the other beings that are invisible to human eyes, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Okay, so we don't see gods, we don't see devas, but devas exist. Devas are celestial beings, heavenly beings. And so there are the higher realm than the human beings. Those are the devas, the heavenly beings. And some heavenly beings are in the dwellings closer to earth, but yet above earth. But some are really way above earth. So, you know, in the Buddhist teachings that there are how many heavens? 33 heavens. Yeah, so you can see there are some closer to us and some are higher, much higher above us. And with terrestrial beings, there are beings living on earth, like us walking on earth, but there are beings living in trees. There are beings living, you know, anywhere that we don't see. But that doesn't, even though we don't see them, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Okay, so we have to bear in mind that there are a lot of invisible beings that we are not able to see, and we respect them. So this verse is actually invite them to come. And what? May they all have peace of mind. And so whatever beings are assembled here, in that assembly hall in Vesali, okay? And we can actually consider ourselves here in this little hall, that may we invite all beings, whether terrestrials or celestial, may you all come here. May you all assembled. And when you're all assembled here, may you all have a peace of mind. And you see, it's not just us. That's why when we ring the gong, or when we in the morning when we recite the Diamond Sutra, we should actually go outside and ring around the perimeters, so that it's a reminder for those beings that we, having the human eyes, cannot see. Remind them, it's time for Diamond Sutta recitation, and it's time for meditation, and it's time for Dharma sharing. So it's not just telling us human beings, it's really more important is for the invisible beings that we don't see. So that is a kind of invitation for them to come, and a kind of respect for those invisible beings, and to be inclusive, to include them. Okay? So, and if we actually respect them the way we respect ourselves, the way we respect our elders, or the way we respect the Sangha, the way we respect the Dharma, the way we respect the Buddha, then you know what? Devas will stay around. But if we do not respect them, and we do not respect us, and we do not respect each other, oh, I tell you, this place will become a non-virtuous place, right? And devas don't like to stay in a non-virtuous place. Okay? So we need to be very careful. That's why I know it's very different in some other practices in the Buddhist tradition. But us being in the Mahayana tradition, and we actually take the Mahayana precepts. And that's why we ask people who come to Po Lam, before you come, don't eat garlic and onion. Remember that? Why is that? Because the garlic and onion actually belongs to a family of vegetables that actually has produced kind of secretions that actually being eaten raw, it will actually stimulate a lot of anger and ill will. And eaten cooked stimulate a lot of lust. So, and as a practitioner, we would like to really get rid of these two defilements, right? So, and we ask people to avoid eating those two things before coming to the place, because we want to protect the place. We want the devas to stay so that we are being protected and they can also share the Dharma with us. Because you know, devas in the heavenly beings, they are what? They forget to practice. Remember? Yes. Yeah. Remember the two teachers of the Buddha? They just saw the Buddha and they said hi and then they left. They didn't stay for the Dharma, right? So if they are here, then there's a possibility, there's an opportunity for them to really share and listen to the Dharma and keep what? Keep nourishing the seed that they have. And eventually when their seeds for the existence in the Deva realm is exhausting, then they won't fall into the three lower realms. At least that Dharma seed that they have may ripen at that time, and they will fall back into this human realm. Right? So that's a very important, that's why we ask people to respect that request. So, and devas will actually respond to offerings, and that's why also in the Chinese tradition, remember in Chinese New Year we have what? Devaloka's offerings, chanting ceremony, because we respect the devas for their protection and for the existence around this human world, and we want to offer them. And of course, the offerings of food or whatever, that is just like a metaphor, right? A symbolic. But the most important thing is actually the offering. The next time I think we should see it, the offering of merits. Okay, so Deva will respond to offerings, and they will come close to human beings, okay, to help, because they promised the Buddha. Because before the Buddha actually went into Nibbana, he taught to the devas, these human beings in the future time are going to suffer a lot. And may you all please protect them. To those who actually walk on the path. Protect those who are walking on the path. Yeah. It's one of them, but he's a Bodhisattva. It's different from a Deva. Okay, so that is like the protection. What does it mean by protection? English is your mother tongue. English is not my mother tongue. Teachers, what is the definition of protection? Mala, I think Mala had put her hands up. Mala, did you put your hands up? Yeah, Mala. There you go, Mala. Mala. Can't hear. Say that again.
I don't know how to unmute myself.
Oh, there you go. I can hear.
Okay, I'm only guessing, but the protection is to open up to the triple gems and maybe not evil energy to identify and stay on the path.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's good. But I just want the definition of protection according to your mind, not according to this sutta. Okay, Versha.
So I think maybe it's just to keep harm away from us.
Good.
Keep the harm away from us.
Good, good, good. Yes. Ward away the harms, right? Get rid of the harms, protect us, shield us from the harms. And any more? When you are shielded from the harm, that means you are yes, safe. That's you are safe. Yeah, you are safe. So protection, that means you ward off all the dangers and you actually bestowed. Is that bestowed? Bestowed? B-E-S-T-O-W, bestowed? Bestowed safety, right? Isn't that the definitions of protection? Yeah. So ward off dangers, shield off from dangers, and bestowed safety. So that's protection. Okay? So, and the Buddha said, okay, may they all have peace of mind. All these terrestrial or celestial beings, may they all have peace of mind. And may they listen attentively to those following verses. So may you listen attentively, okay? All right, then the next one, he says, O beings, listen closely. So open up your ears and listen closely. May you all radiate loving kindness to those human beings. Okay, may you all radiate loving kindness to those human beings. So this you, who are these you? Who are these you? Anybody put up their hand? Ma.
Yeah, it's all beings.
All beings. Yep, all beings, whether terrestrial or celestial, right? All beings, especially the devas. And may you all radiate loving kindness to those human beings. May you all radiate loving kindness to these human beings. So this sutta is actually, remember, this sutta was taught because human beings in Vesali were suffering. So, may you, this you is actually talking about all these other invisible beings in Vesali. It's not all beings. It's the devas or not human, but non-humans. Okay? So, and he says you have to spread the loving kindness to all the other human beings. Okay? And then the next one is, he said, by day and night, bring offerings to you. These human beings, day and night, bring offerings to you. So during the day, what do human beings bring? Fruits, water, or whatever, flowers, or oil lamp, right? Anything. Human beings bring offerings to you during the day. In the commentary, and it says, human beings in the night after they listen to the teachings of the wise one, they share merits with the devas, with the invisible. And when they share the merits, it is also an offering, isn't it? Yeah? So when you share merits, would your merits be diminished? What would be decreased? Why not? Yeah, you're using one candle to light another candle. So the candle that you are using to light the other candle is in flame. Your candle would not lose the flame, right? So you're using one candle to light up another candle. So you don't lose anything by sharing your merits. Okay? So it's not like sharing your orange. You give half of the orange away, you have one half less orange. So sharing merits is very different than the sharing of material stuff. So sharing of material stuff, oranges or apples or even money, if you share $1, that means you have $1 less in your pocket. But sharing of merits is wholesome, is you won't have less. Actually, you have more, right? So these human beings, day and night, they bring offerings to you. They offer merit to you. And this bringing offerings, is it really just happen, or is it just a tradition in the Buddhist traditions? Or it is a long-standing tradition? Or it has been a long-standing tradition? Hands up. I tell you, this is not just Dharma teaching, it is still Dharma sharing. Okay, Maria, thank you. Maria.
I think it's been around since it's been a long time.
Yes.
Tradition.
Yes, it's been there for a long, long time. You have something to say, Sensi? No. Okay. You're wrong, putting up your hand. It has been around long, long time, way before the Buddhist tradition come along. And when the Buddha actually started teaching, did he actually start people to stop offering to other traditions? No, he never. He never said, you stop offering to this and you stop offering to that, and you should not go back to your old teachers, right? Yes. He never said that. He said, you should continue to offer. You should go back and visit your teacher, but what?
With the wife.
Huh?
With
Bring the Dharma to you.
With being wise, right? Yeah, and bring the Dharma to them rather than them teaching you. But you have to be very wise. What does he mean by being very wise? Is you remember the noble path. You remember which path you should be on. Okay, maybe your teacher is not teaching you that path, but that doesn't mean that you should not respect them, because they have been your teachers from the past. They were your teachers in the past. So you still have to respect them, but you know in your heart, this is the path that I have chosen, the Eightfold Noble Path, that I am on this Dharma path. But that is a respect. It's very different, okay? So it's actually what the Buddha taught is actually very different from many other traditions. So, and we should always bear in mind, why would the Buddha teach us this? Because the Buddha is a person of what? Openness. He has tremendous compassion, and he knows his Dhamma. There is no Dharma, there is no other things which could surpass his Dharma. Not his Dharma, the truth. There's no other things that could surpass that truth. And so he doesn't need to be worried like other teachers. If other teachers would think, oh, if my students go to that teacher and that teacher ability has surpassed me, then I will lose all my students. Remember? There was a story in the Nikaya talking about this. Remember? And so the Buddha was not afraid. And the Buddha was not jealous. He is never jealous about other teachers. And he's never afraid because he knows what he taught. Nothing in the world can surpass that. Okay? So we need to remember, even though the Buddha said you should bring offerings, but we have to remember when we bring offerings, okay, maybe sometimes people bring offerings to other places where God and goddesses. Remember, it's not that we bring offerings to pray that they will bless us, they will bless us, they will help us, and they will give whatever that we are praying for. And that is superstitious. Okay? So the most important thing is we remember, we offer because we respect. All right? And we offer because we are grateful. We offer because we appreciate. We offer because we are capable. And we offer because we want to develop that generosity, that parami. Remember the old lady with the long hair. Cut off her long hair just to get that little bit of oil to go and light up and over a lamp. Remember that old lady? Ah, that's good. Ah, at least somebody nodded. Okay? So, remember, purification really cannot be attained by blind rites and rituals. It can only be attained by thorough understanding of that Dharma, of that truth pertaining to the existence of all phenomena in this world. And through this experiential knowledge, we will be able to start to break through those walls of ignorance and delusion. Okay? Good. So, it said, wherefore protect them with the diligence. So, wherefore protect them with the diligence. So Buddha was asking all these terrestrial or celestial beings to protect the human beings with diligence. So the Buddha said, listen, terrestrial or celestial beings, listen, you should all radiate loving kindness. Radiate. Remember, this radiate is just like spreading. It's not focus. It's not a focal point. It's like this. It's just like the sun. So when you use this word as radiation, that means this is what? There is no preference. There is no discrimination. Whether it's a big tree, whether it's a little piece of grass, whether it is a corner in Africa or whether it is a corner in Canada. When the sun radiates, the sun will not say, okay, I will shine more in Canada and I will shine less in South Africa. The sun will not say that. That is radiation. That is not radiation. That is radiate without borders and really with loving kindness. Okay? So that is the true loving kindness. So, and therefore protect them with diligence. Okay, so the Buddha said, you terrestrials or celestial beings, please protect these human beings with diligence. Okay? So, you still with me? Okay, good. So, verse 3. So whatever treasure there be, either here or in the world beyond, whatever precious jewel there be in the heavenly worlds. So the following verses, starting from verse 3, the first two is actually an invitation for those beings, devas, to come to a place. So now is whatever treasure there be either here or in the world beyond. Now this one is start talking about the Buddha jewel, or the jewel in the Buddha. It's really not talking about the Buddha jewel, it's really talking about the jewel in the Buddha. It's different. Okay, so the jewel in the Buddha, that means the precious qualities of the Buddha. The precious quality in the Buddha. Okay, so he said, whatever treasure there be, either here, that means in the human realm, in the human on earth, or in the world beyond, that means in the heavenly worlds. Whatever precious jewel there be in the heavenly worlds, there is none. It says not here, so that means none. I changed it to none, comparable with the Tathagata. So the Tathagata, we all know, is what? Thus come or thus gone, right? One who has come and one who has gone. So there is none comparable with the Tathagata. That means in this world, in this earthly world, there is none of any jewels or any gems that can be compared to the gem in the Buddha. So, in this earthly existence, we always say, wow, diamond, how many, carats? Not carrot, but carrots. We're going to plant a lot of carrots this year, but not carrot. So how many carats in this diamond? That means that is what? It shows a state of your wealth, right? What is the biggest carat of diamond? 24? 40? I don't know. But we think having a big carat, wearing that big diamond ring is a sign of wealth. It's a sign of wealth, right? Because, and what is that? It's a piece of stone. It's a piece of stone which has been sitting in the mountain for eons. And we think it is such a treasure and so precious, and we pay millions of dollars to buy that and wear that and show that off all the time, like this and like this. Oh gosh. Huh? Forever diamond. Oh, forever diamond, okay. Oh, because why? Because it is precious, because why? It is rare, right? And if it is very common, everybody is wearing 24 on their fingers, and it doesn't become a gem, a jewel anymore, right? So it is rare, and it is very difficult to find, right? And is uncommonly seen and uncommonly exists on my fingers or on your fingers. So that's why it's so expensive. But if one day, I'm sorry, it's just too funny. But if one day, it's really funny. If one day, everywhere that there are diamonds for you to pick up from the superstore, and how precious it is. It's really nothing anymore, right? So then would you still collect those diamonds? Would it still be so precious? No. Of course no, right? So that is the mundane view of precious, of treasure, is us human mind destinate that value, right? We human minds destinate that value. We add a value to that thing. But if we don't care. I never have jewelries. I mean, not now, but even when I was young, I was a householder, I never had jewelries. Because I don't like those fancy stuff. It's just, because I need to keep washing my hand, right? In the hospital. And if you wear those jewelries, what's the point of you wearing those jewelries, and you need to use surgical gloves all the time, right? You break all the surgical gloves. So we know why, because we add a value to it. But even when you look at our mind has been existing for eons also. Isn't this precious? It depends on how you look at it, right? But having a human mind is so precious because it has the way that we are born as a human being, because of all that's past eons of good deeds, that we are able to be born as a human being this lifetime, and to listen, to be able to encounter the Dharma. And that's so precious. That's why human life is so precious. And human life with a Dharma is even more precious, okay? So remember, okay, there is none comparable with the Tathagata. That means the Buddha, the jewel in the Buddha, as even more precious. And this precious jewel is in the Buddha. Because without the Buddha, there won't what? We won't know that we need to practice. We won't know what is the jewels in the Buddha. It's the compassion, it's the wisdom, it's the perfection of parami, isn't it? He has perfected in his parami, and he has perfected in his wisdom. He has perfected in the compassion. So all these perfections are the jewels of the Buddha. So can we see these jewels in the mundane jewels that we see? Never. Never. It can only be visible. You can only see this in the Buddha. So, and these jewels, these qualities are never decreased. It never disappeared in the Buddha. Until the Buddha become the Sammasambuddha, that until then, it will disappear. But once he attained the Sammasambuddhahood, that those jewels, those good qualities will never disappear. Okay, so like our generosity come and go. Sometimes we are more generous, sometimes we are more stingy. Though that comes and go because we are not enlightened yet, right? So that arises and goes, that changes. But for the Buddha, this gem, this quality doesn't change at all. And this precious jewel is in the Buddha. And it says here, by this truth, may there be happiness. Bhikkhu Buddhist translation of this word, the Pali word, he said happiness cannot actually, is really not appropriate using happiness. He said it should be safety, security, and good fortune or peace. Okay? So he said, by this truth, may there be safety, security, and good fortune. Why? Why would, by the asseveration of this truth, there will be safety, security, and good fortune? Why? Because when we recite this verse, we hear what we are reciting, and then because we read through with our mind, so we know the wonderful qualities of the Buddha. And at that time, in our mind, we arouse this gratitude, and we arouse this mindset, wow, like, wow, wonderful qualities of the Buddha. And then that mind is actually channeling from us through this universe and connect with whatever similar energies in that universe. Because we actually appreciate this truth so much. And we, that appreciation, that gratitude, that understanding, directing our mind towards that goal. You see? So, but when we actually direct our mind towards that goal, then at that moment, at that right moment, there we bring safety, we bring security, we bring peace to our mind at that very moment. Right? So that is why arousing our mind of the precious jewels which are present or exist in the Buddha. Of course, knowing that it actually exists in ourselves. And of course, in the beginning, this thought will come and go all the time. In the beginning, it could be weak, and as time goes by, we keep doing this. That's why I always encourage everybody to recite sutra all the time. Why? It's because one of the reasons is this. You arouse yourself. You remember, as I said in meditation, we tend to be what? Forgetful. We tend to be distracted. We tend to forget. So by reading sutra over and over again, we remember more and more often. And so we build up this channeling more and more often, stronger and stronger. So this determination, asseveration of the truth, this determination, by knowing that there is such truth there, we know we are gradually developing that power Okay? And throughout this practice, we want this determination to become stronger and stronger. So that's why we need to, repeatedly, remind ourselves. Okay? So, all right? Good? Nobody thumbs up. Okay. So any questions? Any questions, or you are scratching your head, you don't understand? Any questions? Unmute them.
Everybody?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Anybody? Any questions or any sharing? We're almost done. Anybody want to say anything? How come on the computer they don't say things? Maria, that's good. Maria.
I just thought somebody had to say something. I have a question.
Yeah.
In light of what's happening around the world right now,
Mm-hmm.
would that be maybe an indication that the divas have gone away from certain areas?
Have left. It could be. It could be. You can see the differences in so many parts of the world having this kind of pandemic. But you can see the differences in certain parts of the world. Is actually more serious. And in other parts of the world, it's less serious. Yeah, and because human beings are coming together in some parts of the world, and in other parts of the world, human beings are separating, are distancing from each other and fighting each other and blaming each other. So the divas don't like that.
No.
Divas are protecting beings who are walking on the path. And you think that divas are discriminating? No. Divas are non-discriminative. But because they have agreed to the Buddha, they are keeping their promise to the Buddha to protect suffering beings. But if a place is so grossly filled up with anger and hatred, even though nobody is pushing the divas away, but that energy will not allow the divas to stay, because those are fires, those are flames. And the divas, it's not like the fire trucks, right? No matter how much the divas want to pour water onto those flames, but human beings keep multiplying it. You read it from this sutra. From this sutta, I think is I can't remember which one is Numbers. It says that the old ones being eradicated and they don't multiply the new ones. You see, I think it's number 14 or something like that. Anyway, we will come to that anyway. So that is the, I think that is the reason why. Anybody agrees? Yeah, Nora. Nora, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for explaining all this, because I've been reading it every day and not appreciating every single nuance of it. So thank you for
great.
expounding upon it.
Good. I learned so much also because of diligently studying this sutta. Okay, anybody else want to say something before we dedicate our merits? Ma. Ma? Ma is there. Ma, you have to unmute him though. Okay, Ma.
I have a question. In this, is it Ratana Sutta? It mentioned that beings from celestial and terrestrial world.
Yeah.
Does that mean like necessarily just exclusively for divas?
Yes, because this sutta is actually the sutta is not for the terrestrial and celestial beings. This sutta is actually for the human beings, but the Buddha actually asked the divas to come and protect the human beings. Ask the divas, the terrestrial or the celestial divas, to come to protect those human beings who are suffering from these three difficult times, difficult things. Okay, Ma? Okay. Ivy has something to say.
I'm going to ask, after the perfect one in Chinese, what is this?
Say that again. Tathagata 如來啊，如來，如來，即係佛嘅10個名號之一啊嚇。One of the 10 names of the Buddha, 如來。Okay. Okay, now let us dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and help themselves to untie, to liberate from all the entanglements, and be ultimately free and happy and peaceful.